Hi guys, welcome back to the Malena Edit. We're getting into the NFL Week 9 recap today. What a good series of games. So many of these matchups came down to the last minute. Quite a few upsets, or there's not really upsets in the NFL, but unexpected games. This season, definitely more than others, is just like, I have no idea who's going to be in the Super Bowl. You can kind of see those kind of Achilles heels for so many teams. At this point, it's like, is your defense going to completely throw away games for you, Seattle? Or are they going to be able to help you to wins? Some defenses that I had some concerns about, like Buffalo, New Orleans, kind of got it together this week. So I'm very curious how they continue to look and which team is like more stressful to be a fan of, the Seattle Seahawks or the LA Chargers. It's probably the Chargers. I feel so bad for that last minute loss. It's so tough seeing Anthony Lynn's face there on the sidelines. Let's jump in to the rest of the game. The first game I'm going to touch on, the Baltimore Ravens at the Indianapolis Colts. Somebody actually asked me a couple weeks ago about the Colts and like what I thought of them this season. And I actually got this game locally this week. So it was a really good game to be able to kind of gauge. Loved this Colts defense, especially in the first half. I didn't know that front. I know they're number one ranked in run defense, but I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, so I didn't know how good they were. They're really good. But there's just not enough happening on that offensive side of the ball to help them out, mainly in the run game. And I'm kind of surprised by that with Marlon Mack on IR. I don't know when that happened, so I hadn't heard about that. But Jonathan Taylor not being able to kind of pick up in the run game surprises me a little bit. I liked him as a prospect, so that's a little bit unfortunate there. And them not being able to establish the run and having to fully lean on a late stage Phillip Rivers is just not getting it done. And I think it's really unfortunate because I think they have some good pieces in place. I would just say the biggest part of it is not being able to establish the run game. They have a solid defense, but you can't rely solely on that. And if you are trying to rely solely on your defense in 2020, they've got to be getting pick sixes like out the wazoo, because this is like a points league at this point. As far as the Ravens, I was really happy with their performance in adjusting in the second half. I know they said on the broadcast that they were trying to kind of up the tempo in the second half, and even earlier in the game, kind of going with a lot of misdirection and things like that to throw off the speed of this Colts defense. Because again, their defense is solid. They look really good out there. Hopefully they can keep that together through this draft and maybe establish a couple more pieces to get something going on offense there, because it's a nice looking team. It really is. And they invested a lot in that defense this offseason, and they're reaping the rewards, but just not necessarily in the wins that they need to be able to take it further in this challenging AFC. Another afternoon slot game that I got and I had my eye on, the Carolina Panthers at the Kansas City Chiefs. This game was as good as I expected it to be. That Carolina defense came to play. So did the offense though. Christian McCaffrey is very much back. I love how Teddy Bridgewater plays. Teddy Bridgewater, Christian McCaffrey, and Curtis Samuel on that final drive, knowing who they were facing on the other side of the field, and what it would take to kind of pull out this unexpected win, really went for it. And I love seeing that from this offense. I love this Panthers team, top to bottom, from the front office and the way they're rebuilding things to Matt Rule being the head coach there. They are such a fun team. I'm really excited about them. I kind of want to cheat and become a Panthers fan for 2021, but you can't do that. That's like, I wonder if Teddy Bridgewater is the future there. I am curious about that. As far as the Chiefs, Travis Kelce was the weapon, I guess, in this game. He was definitely a go-to, definitely a mismatch weapon for this opponent. But I feel like with the Chiefs, it's just, you have to play 60 minutes of essentially mistake-free football, which is asking a lot. It's not that the Chiefs aren't beatable, I don't think. I think you saw them beating them through the first half and playing a really strong game, but they have more margin for error, just having as many weapons as they do and as many great pieces. A matchup that I was eyeing going into the week, during my preview I talked about it and it lived up to the hype, the Miami Dolphins at the Arizona Cardinals. Miami, Tua, a bright star. We knew that if you watched him at Alabama. I absolutely loved him. I'm really glad that the Dolphins did take a chance on him. I'm excited to see what he continues to look like as they keep building that team around him. The Brian Flores defense looks like a great defense. That's also what I expected there. Emmanuel Ogbah with some big plays, Shaq Lawson. I really, really like what they're doing down there on both sides of the ball. As far as the Arizona Cardinals, Christian Kirk is what I thought Andy Isabella was going to be for Kyler Murray. So like that downfield, deep threat. I feel like they just, when they're pulling a rabbit out of a hat moment and you don't expect a play call, it's usually going to Christian Kirk. So I don't know if defenses are going to start to pick up on that, but you're also trying to guard a guy in DeAndre Hopkins and Larry Fitzgerald. So it's kind of challenging there. Kyler's mobility just does not make sense. The only thing, I know that this game came down to that game-winning or game-tying potentially field goal kick, but I'm surprised that Cliff Kingsbury is almost as reserved in some of his play calls as he is, especially having a weapon like Kyler Murray. I just expect him to take some riskier calls and just kind of like gunslinging moments. Very like wreck 'em, like just give me like a big moment. And he doesn't do that sometimes. And it almost surprises me. Like he's a little bit reserved. It worked in his favor versus the Seahawks, but not this time. So I'm curious how that might change for the future. I feel like I am essentially obligated to talk about the New Orleans Saints dominating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Did not expect that performance at all. I'm glad that the Saints defense stepped up and really showed up for this game because I was getting a little bit concerned there. I'm always rooting for this Saints team and there just always seems to be a hiccup. So it was nice to see that defense show up and start to look better and back on track. They were able to get the ball. The Saints offense was able to get the ball to so many weapons. It was a Taysom Hill night. I feel like some of the play calls with him either absolutely work or they get shut down. And there's no in between sometimes there, but it was a great Taysom Hill night. I have no idea where that Bucs defense that we're all so proud of went. I guess they were able to slow down somewhat Alvin Kamara, but not real. Like it was just, I did not expect that. I don't even know how to evaluate what I saw from them. Tom Brady was just completely off. If it wasn't a sack, it was a pick or just 3 and outs and incompletions. It was just a disaster all over. And I guess that's credit to this Saints defense. I don't want to not credit them for it and just call it the demise of the Bucs offense. But it was a very strange watch. It just seems like an imbalanced, unfair almost game. Very Twilight Zone-y, very just what's happening. So maybe they'll get back on track. Those were all of the games that I had my eyes on through Sunday. I do have to mention the Seattle Seahawks falling to the Buffalo Bills. That Seattle defense is a liability. And this was the game that I was kind of waiting to see. Are they going to lose their team the Super Bowl or Super Bowl chances along the way? And I feel like they are absolutely in position to do that. It was a little bit odd hearing Pete Carroll say after the game that they were preparing for heavy run game in Buffalo. I know that they have been running the ball successfully, but you know the kind of arm that Josh Allen has and the targets that he has there, so you kind of have to prepare for everything. So that was a little bit concerning. Clearly, Josh Allen got back on track. Brian Daboll making a nice case for himself, or continuing to make the case for himself and being a head coach next year. So that's positive. That's positive for Buffalo. Really curious about that final game, them versus Miami. It's like in January, so it's really going to come down maybe to the wire there for the AFC East. But it was nice to see them back on track, to see their defense be able to show up better than they have through the first few weeks of the season. And Seattle, I have all of the concerns, all of them. Thank you guys so much for supporting. Make sure you like and comment and subscribe. I will talk to you so soon.